Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new Pokemon TCG video. What we're going to be examining today is a deck revolving around the very last of the Mega Evolution reprints from the Ancient Origins set. So this deck will focus around the Primal Kyogre EX, which has the exact same ability as both the Primal Groudon EX and the Mega Rayquaza EX from the Ancient Origins set. That is the Theta Max Ancient Trait ability, allowing us to completely heal a Kyogre EX back to full HP when we do evolve it into the Primal Kyogre EX again. And sort of continuation of the pattern that we've seen in the past two videos, this is the worst of the variants of the Ancient Traits Primal Kyogre EXs, at least when comparing the two to each other. So again, this one has the exact same attack, Tidal Storm, allowing us to hit for 150 damage, moving 2 energy cards from this Pokemon onto one of our bench Pokemon, and simultaneously targeting each of our opponent's benched EX Pokemon for 30 damage as well. So it's actually a pretty powerful Pokemon, but again, it's not as powerful as the Primal Kyogre EX, with the Alpha Growth ability allowing us to attach a total of 2 energy cards on it per any given turn. Now, the reason that this is such a fantastic ability is that number one, of course, it can't get shut down by cards such as the Hex Maniac, Garbodor, things like that. So Ancient Traits are always something nice to have. But the reason why Alpha Growth is much better than the Theta Max ability is because, as you guys can see, there's a total of 4 energy cards that we require to be able to make use of Tidal Storm. That is a lot. It's going to mean that we're going to have to waste a lot of turns. It's just powering up that Primal Kyogre EX. And we can't, it's obviously the much better ability, but the reason that I am still running the other variant of the Primal Kyogre EX is because, as if you guys of course read carefully, that whenever we do attack with this Pokemon, we move 2 energy cards from this Pokemon onto one of our bench Pokemon. So oftentimes what we'll be doing is we'll be attacking with this Primal Kyogre EX with the Alpha Growth ability, and then moving those water energy cards onto the Primal Kyogre EX that does not possess this ability. Again, depending on certain instances, the other Primal Kyogre EX with the Theta Max ability can definitely pay off a lot more. I mean, there's instances where opponent may Lysander out one of our Kyogre EXs and just inflict a whole lot of damage to them, and it's really unexpected to see any players running the Theta Max Primal Evolution Pokemon. So in those instances, we can definitely see a bit of action from that Primal Kyogre EX. I have to say, however, the main star of this deck is by far the Swampert. It's really the card that puts this entire deck together, makes it cohesive, allows us to look for the cards that we need, inflict as much damage as we need. Swampert is also a very, very powerful alternative attacker. Ironically enough, it has the exact same Ancient Trait ability as the Primal Kyogre EX from the Primal Clash set, so that is the Alpha Growth, allowing us to attach a total of 2 water energy cards onto the Swampert per any given turn, provided, of course, that we do have at least 1 additional water energy card in our hand. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be water energies, but in our case, we're only running water energies, so that's why I'm saying 2 water energy cards per any given turn. Also, keep in mind that the Swampert has the Diving Search ability, of course, which is what really allows this deck to function. It allows us to manipulate our deck such that the next card that we draw into will be a card that we can definitely take advantage of. Now, since the Diving Search only puts the card on top of our deck, while it is pretty much like a computer search, it doesn't actually allow us to draw onto such a card. We actually have a total of 4 copies of the Unknown with the Farewell Letter ability. And with this ability, as long as the Unknown is on our bench, we can go right ahead, send it into our discard pile, and then we can draw onto whatever card that we decided to lay on top of our deck using the Swampert special ability. So Unknown is actually a really important card in this deck. We're running a total of 4 copies of it, and in combination with that, we're also running a bit of an unusual draw supporter, and that is going to be the Tierno, allowing us to draw 3 cards in our hand. So Tierno actually really pulls its weight in this deck, but just keep in mind that the Unknowns may be better in certain instances because the Tierno does ultimately waste the supporter for our respective turn, so that's just something to keep in mind. Also want to mention that I would have decided to go with a total of 4 copies of the Dive Ball, but the reason that I'm only running a total of 2 copies of the Dive Ball is because we had to make a bit of space for the Ultra Balls, since we are going to be grabbing onto those Unknowns as well, which are unfortunately not water type Pokemon, so that's why we are running a mixture of both of these respective different balls. We're also running a single copy of the Energy Retrieval. I mean, a lot of our Pokemon are quite bulky, And oftentimes, when they do go into that discard pile, they tend to take quite a few. Energy cards with them, along with them. So I feel like the energy retrieval is just kind of nice, allowing us to put 2 basic energy cards from our discard pile onto our hand. And also keep in mind that we have the Alpha Growth ability, so that means that we can often attach those 2 energy cards back onto our Pokemon. So energy retrieval is actually kind of nice. We'll be running a single copy of it. Now, unfortunately, we no longer have the Keldeo EX, so we're going to be running a single copy of the Escape Rope and the Switch, and on top of that, we're going to be running a total of 3 copies of the Energy Switch. Now, again, keep in mind that whenever we do attack with the Primal Kyogre EX, we send a couple of our energy cards from that active Pokemon onto one of our bench Pokemon. And in case we don't have enough water energy cards in our hand, which hopefully we should, because I mean, again, we do have the Swampert and we do have the Diving Search ability, but of course in case we don't, we have a total of 3 copies of the Energy Switch, and that's just going to repeatedly allow us to stream attacker after attacker. So Energy Switch is an absolutely fantastic card in this deck. We're running a total of 3 copies of it. I know it seems a little bit like on the overkill side of things, but believe me, this is a card that really pulls its weight in this type of deck. We have a total of 2 rare candies, of course, not a card that that you guys see a whole lot of anymore, just because a lot of Pokemon take advantage of the Forest of Giant Plants, for example, so there's no need for rare candy. Of course, EX Pokemon tend to be a lot more popular than the Stage 2 Pokemon, but nonetheless, we do tend to see rare candy from time to time, and it often works really well with any Stage 2 evolution decks, perhaps with the exception being grass decks, because of course they can take advantage of the Forest of Giant Plants. So rare candy is just to allow us to bring out the Swamperts a little bit earlier in case we need to. And of course, rare candy works really nicely with the teammates, because I mean, whenever we do lose one of our Pokemon, we can go right ahead and look for a rare candy and a Swampert, for example, or a mixture of different cards. Teammates actually works really well with this deck as well, so we'll be running a single copy of that. We're also running the Ace Trainer, a single Professor Birch, and 4 Professor Sycamores as some draw supporter cards. We also have, of course, the 2 Tiernos, and we have a single copy of the Lysander to allow us to lure out any of the opponent's bench Pokemon. 2 VS Seekers as well, of course, just to allow us to reuse our draw supporters and perhaps our teammates as well, or the Lysander. We have a total of 3 copies of the Rough Sea Stadium card to allow us to repeatedly heal those very bulky water Pokemon. I mean, Primal Kyogre EX is standing at a massive 240 HP, and that just makes it really difficult to take care of it. With the exception, of course, being those Pokemon that can perform those huge one-hit knockouts. So Rough Seas is a fantastic stadium card. In our case, we are running a total of 3 copies of it. We're also running a total of 12 Water Energies, and of course 3 Kyogre Spirit Links, just so that we don't have to sacrifice any of our turns whenever evolving the Kyogre EX into the Primal Kyogre EX. So that is going to be it for our deck, and with that, we're going to go right ahead and find ourselves an opponent. Now, I have to say that this deck has been working really well right now. Actually, I have to say I'm very surprised. And again, the real star of this deck is without a doubt the Swampert. I mean, Swampert is what allows this deck to function so effectively, and Swampert would probably work a little bit better by itself. But again, of course, this is a Primal Kyogre EX deck, so we're going to be using the 2 Pokemon in combination with each other. So I think we're facing a Night March deck, but a lot of Night March Pokemon, again, aren't really able to perform those huge one-hit knockouts on Pokemon such as the Primal Kyogre EX, so hopefully we should be safe. Looks like we're going to start off with 2 Mudkips. It's not exactly the ideal sort of start for us, but we'll see. Let's see what Pokemon our opponent has in store for us. Looks like we're going to see 2 Zubats, and alright, so it looks like I was completely wrong, or perhaps it's going to be a Raichu Bat type of deck. Those are actually relatively common as well, definitely powerful. I mean, we do see the Pikachu sleeves. We're going to see that Shaman EX. That is going to be a huge liability for our opponent, especially when those Primal Kyogre EXs do start attacking, because they hit each of our opponent's bench DX Pokemon for 30 damage all across the board. We're going to see that Skyfield Stadium card make its appearance as well. I think what I'd like to do is bring out a Kyogre EX, guys. So I'm going to go right ahead and get rid of the Energy Switch, and I could get rid of the Primal Kyogre. No, you know what, let's actually go right ahead and get rid of a Water Energy card to bring out that very first Kyogre EX. So let's go right ahead and lay that down onto our bench, and we will be attaching a Water Energy card onto it. I'm hoping that the Mudkip hopefully survives a little bit longer, but in case it does get knocked out, we always have the teammates, and I can absolutely use that to our advantage to look for a rare candy and a Swampert. So we're going to see a Shauna one more time. Our opponent doesn't exactly seem to be getting the best hands either. So he's hoping that he drew onto something useful with Dishana, and I'm hoping that he didn't, because of course I'd like to be able to survive a little bit longer. We are going to see Golbat make its appearance. 2 damage counters, which is going to be the Pokemon that our opponent is going to be targeting. I'm not exactly sure, but you know what, the Ancient Origins Primal Kyogre EX may actually really come in handy as well, guys, because it would allow us to completely heal a badly damaged Kyogre EX. And in this type of battle where we see lots and lots of bats, that may actually make all the difference in the world. So we're going to see him retreat and bring out a Zubat. We're going to see a level ball, most likely, yes, so it looks like it's going to be one more Golbat. And it's probably going to get an energy card attached to it as well, because I do believe our opponent is going to be attacking. He does have the Muscle Band attached to that Golbat, so yes, looks like our opponent is going to be able to draw into that very first prize card. But he has absolutely no cards in his hand at this point, so I guess that's always a positive sign. Let's go right ahead and bring out the Kyogre EX, and awesome, we do have a Water Energy card. So I'm gonna go and look for the rare candy and the Swampert. Let's go and bring those out. So I'm gonna go right ahead and use that rare candy, bring out the Swampert, attach a Water Energy card onto that Kyogre EX. Before I evolve our Pokemon, I want to make sure I use the Diving Search ability, and a Sycamore will absolutely be the card that I would like to draw into. Let's go right ahead, bring out that Primal Kyogre EX, and now our opponent is gonna have a bit of a difficult time taking care of a behemoth such as this with a massive 230 HP. Our opponent's gonna get a Professor Birch's Observation. I assumed he didn't have anything useful in his hand, otherwise I would have arranged the top card of our deck to have been an Ace Trainer as opposed to the Professor Sycamore, but that's okay. It's still relatively early on in the game, and the Primal Kyogre EX will easily be able to destroy whatever Pokemon our opponent decides to throw our way. We're going to see a Repeat Ball, most likely in, okay, looks like it's going to be Shaman EX instead. I was assuming it's going to be an additional Raichu, potentially even a Golbat. So we are seeing 2 Raichus out on that bench, getting hit for 30 damage. Hopefully we'll be able to heal off the bulk of the damage when we do ultimately bring out the Rough Sea Stadium card. So I'm actually going to go and use the Diving Search. I think a Water Energy card is the card that I like to draw into. Hopefully we can get to and finally start attacking with those Primal Kyogre EXs. Let's go and use that Sycamore. That is going to be 2 cards, and awesome, we have the Rough Sea Stadium card as well. So let's go and bring that out, and our opponent is going to be able to send one of those Shaman EXs in that discard pile, but we're going to be able to heal off the bulk of the damage. I'm going to go and attach 2 Water Energy cards on to that Primal Kyogre EX, and then let's go right ahead and use Tidal Storm. That will be 150 damage, and we're going to go and move those 2 Water Energy cards onto that Swampert EX and hit that Shaman EX for 30 damage as well. So that is going to be our first prize card, and I feel like our opponent's going to have a bit of a difficult time. I mean, Primal Kyogre EX so powerful. Even if our opponent has a fully loaded bench, he just cannot knock out the Primal Kyogre EX. So we are seeing an additional bat that is going to stack 2 damage counters on us. We're going to see Teammates card. Let's see if our opponent is going to be able to pull off something big over here. Again, I don't think our Primal Kyogre EX should be losing its life. We're going to see a Skyfield Stadium card. I'm assuming one of those cards our opponent drew into that hand. Okay, I was thinking he had an additional Shaman EX, but maybe he's only running a total of 2 in his respective deck. So let us go and bring out the Rough Seas Stadium card. I'm going to go and heal off a bit of damage from that Primal Kyogre EX. I'm going to go and use that Diving Search to look for a Water Energy card. So let's go right ahead and bring that out. I'm going to go and lay down the Unknown Farewell Letter, send it into our discard pile. And I think I'd actually like to start attacking with the Swampert at this point. So let's go right ahead, attach a Water Energy card onto it. I'm going to go and use the Escape Rope, force our opponent to bring out one of his bench Pokemon, which again our Swampert will be able to knock out. Looks like it's going to be that Shaman EX. Our opponent realizes what a huge liability is. Professor Birch's Observation will unfortunately not work successfully for us this time around. We still have one more Unknown. Yeah, you know what, let's actually go and bring it out. I'd love to get an additional Mudkip if possible, so let's go and send that into that discard pile. No, unfortunately that's not going to happen. I'm going to go and use Hydro Pump. That will be 130 damage, knocking out that Shaman EX and allowing us to draw onto 2 prize cards. So we are going to see that Raichu. Unfortunately our Swampert may get knocked out during this turn, but I just wanted to ensure that we were able to attack. Again, I do want to stream attacker after attacker, so I decided to bring on the Swampert. Hopefully it should be able to survive. I mean, 140 HP is relatively bulky, not all that easy to knock out, and our opponent is definitely lacking a lot of bench Pokemon. He may have actually gone through all of his Shaman EXs already. Potentially we may see 1 or 2 of them being prized. Again, I'm not entirely sure. Our opponent just taking their time to decide what exactly they would like to do. If we do see a total of 2 Crobats make their appearance, then we may just see that Swampert lose its life. So we're going to see that number 1 Crobat making its appearance. 2 Lysanders going into the discard pile, so our opponent is definitely not going to be attacking the Primal Kyogre EX just yet. We're going to see a Teammates card as well. Yeah, so our opponent is most definitely going to be able to knock out that Swampert. I mean, all he needs is 2 Pokemon onto that bench, and that Swampert EX unfortunately will be losing its life. So let's see, and we are going to see Zubat, we're going to see Crobat as well. Okay, I guess that works as well. Maybe our opponent isn't running a whole lot of bench Pokemon, I'm not really sure. I'm hoping I can use the Tierno, and that will allow us to draw to 1 more Water Energy card. I would love to attack with that Primal Kyogre EX, so let's go and heal a bit of damage, use that Tierno, and awesome, we do have 2 Water Energy cards, and I do believe that our Primal Kyogre EX should be able to survive. So let's go and attach those 2 Water Energy cards. That is going to be Tidal Storm, 150 damage, and a single prize card for us. Unfortunately for us, our opponent is not running a whole lot of EX Pokemon, and I'm hoping that the Primal Kyogre EX remains alive and well. Okay, so there was actually an additional Shaman EX in our opponent's deck. We're going to see that Skyfield as well. I'm really hoping that our opponent isn't able to fully load up that bench. I mean, 170 damage. Our opponent still does have to get a little bit lucky. We're going to see Pikachu, so that's currently 120 damage. He still needs a double colorless energy though, so hopefully we are outside of harm's way. I mean, we do see only a single double colorless energy in the discard pile, and a lightning energy as well, so alright, come on, and awesome, we're going to be able to survive, so that's definitely something very, very nice. So let's go right ahead and bring out the Mudkip, and I do have the energy switch as well, but I mean that's kind of useless. I'm going to go and bring out the Rough Sea Stadium card. That's going to force our opponent to get rid of that Shaman EX as well, and at the same time we'll be able to heal off a bit of damage from that Primal Kyogre EX. I feel like now would be a pretty good time to make use of the Professor Sycamore to allow us to draw into some new cards. And alright, so we do have a Dive Ball. I'm going to go and bring out a Kyogre EX. I feel like this is going to be our game though, guys. Alright, let's go and use that Dive Ball. We have a Marshtomp and a Kyogre EX as well. I mean, I did just lay down the Mudkip. So I guess we're going to go right ahead and grab onto that Marshtomp temporarily. Let's go and attach a Water Energy card onto this Kyogre EX, and I'm going to hold off on the Unknown for now. Let's go and use Tidal Storm. That is 150 damage one more time, and 2 Water Energy cards that will get latched on to that benched Kyogre EX. So should hopefully be able to win the game, guys. And I mean, at this point we're not really able to hit for a lot of damage because this Kyogre EX is still lacking 1 more energy card to be able to make use of the Giant Whirlpool, and of course our active Primal Kyogre EX can't even attack at this point, so the Unknown may just make the difference. It may just allow us to win the game if it allows us to top deck onto a Water Energy card. We only see 4 Water Energy cards in that discard pile, so we still have quite a few remaining in our deck. So 5, 4, so we should still have about 3 more in our deck, unless we do have 1 prize. Our opponent again making usage of that Shauna. He just was having a very difficult time taking care of those Primal Kyogre EXs just because of their bulky HP. I mean, 240, definitely very, very difficult for a lot of decks to take care of in a single attack. Unfortunately for us though, we weren't really able to make use of the Swampert a whole lot, but I mean that doesn't matter a lot. And our opponent only going to hit us for 30 damage using the Golbat with the Sky Dive. Alright, so we have a Marshtomp. You know what, I'm actually going to start things off by making usage of a Tierno. And oh my god, we still don't have a Water Energy card. Is the Unknown going to make the difference between us winning the game or not? I'm hoping so, but again, I'm not entirely sure. So let's go right ahead, use that Farewell Letter. Oh my god, and the Unknown has actually allowed us to win the game, guys, because we can go right ahead and switch in to the Kyogre EX. You know what, let's actually finish things off with this Primal Kyogre EX. I mean, it didn't really see any action, so let's go right ahead and bring it out. Attach a Water Energy card, and that is going to be Tidal Storm, knocking out our opponent's Crobat, and moving those 2 Water Energy cards onto the Marshtomp. So that is going to be game, guys, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like and the subscribe button. Also be sure to check out the annotations for my previous video and a random video as well, in case you guys of course are not aware. I have a Twitter account as well, so be sure to follow that. And yeah, so that is going to be it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.